Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast Under Your Bed. Sitting across the table from me is your hostess, Taylor.
Hey, guys.
And I am CJ, your host. We got Ghostface in the building today. Of course, if you don't know who Ghostface is, you're on the wrong podcast. But either way, we're, of course, reviewing Scream 6. Ghostface is returning to attack our previous survivors from Scream 5, who are now trying to start new chapters of their lives in the Big Apple, New York City.
And I cannot wait for us to get into this episode. But before we start, just in case you are happening upon us for the first time ever, let us break down the podcast for you really quick. So we will do a quick cast and crew breakdown. We'll cover some spoiler-free stuff up at the top. Then we get into our specialty cocktail, which is always themed around the movie, and get into the nitty-gritty of it by going through the entire plot with you and then giving our opinions on everything. So if you haven't seen the movie, the halfway point's a great place to just stop. And if you're interested in getting spoiled, then continue through the episode.
Absolutely. And there's a themed drink to accompany this. We get to it in the spoiler section. I recommend it. Cozy up. And, I don't know if you're listening to it today, St. Patrick's Day with us. So you can, partake with our cocktail or whatever you want, a little Irish whiskey or something. But I guess let's get into it, huh? I mean,
let's get into it.
We know we're getting back into some of our kind of newly beloved, maybe not characters, trying to carry off the new direction of the franchise. What are we thinking here, Taylor? Who's working? Right. What's happening?
So we've got some repeat offenders in the most positive way I could say that. So obviously Courtney Cox is back as Gale Weathers. If I need to tell you what she's from, again, we're done. Skeet Ulrich coming back, making a cameo. Roger Jackson coming back to do Ghostface again, which, I mean, it's not a Scream movie without him. But additionally, we get a little fun nod with Hayden Panettiere coming back to play Kirby. If you remember, she was in Scream 4 with the very ambiguous but noted death. And then we got in Scream 5 the realization she survived. So I was here for it. But our also newly returning crew, our core four as they eventually are called. We've got Melissa Barrera coming back as Sam, kind of our main final girl. Little sister Tara is played by Jenna Ortega, who, come on, guys, she's like Scream Queen royalty at this point. Wednesday UX, like, come on now. We've also got the twins back. So we've got Mason Gooding coming back as Chad and Jasmine Savoy Brown coming back as Mindy. And as someone who just got into Yellow Jackets, love it. If you haven't seen it, very good. But we've also, we've got some fun new characters. So honestly, I did not know most of these people, and I'm definitely aging myself by saying Detective Bailey, who was played by Dermot Mulroney, whose name I probably just butchered at the end there, but he was in like My Best Friend's Wedding, Young Guns, Family Stone. I know him, but I did not know Jack Champion, who's coming in to play Ethan. Wasn't familiar with. Josh, I want to say Segarra.
Good. Okay,
I did it right the first time. Look at me go. Coming in to play the hot neighbor Danny. Didn't know him either. I just feel like
know him now.
I know. I feel like I'm getting so old though when this
You're
goes down.
Over there, Taylor. Stop.
I am. Hello. If he was my neighbor, it'd be a good day. But then we also could have some fun Ready or Not action with Samara Weaving coming in, and also Henry Cisenri.
We'll go with it. We'll take it.
I've only had a beer before this, so it shouldn't be that bad, but it's a stacked cast and crew. It's kind of cool because there's a good juxtaposition of like our old school returning characters, our new school returning characters, and then all these people coming in from like new franchises like Avatar and shit I haven't seen. So it's a kind of a cool mix in this one. And how about Bruce also got some returners?
Yeah, so of course
primarily.
this is a Return of the Radio Silence crew bringing this movie to you. You know, directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, written by James Vanderbilt, Usyk, new editor.
The new editor this time.
Sorry, Prickety's got.
Don't come to this podcast for pronunciation. You will be disappointed.
That's not what you're here for. You're here for our deep insight and critique.
That's right.
Not phonetics. Same cinematographer, composer, effects, and it's per usual crushing it. What's really carrying the movie, of course, is story, witty screenwriting. Gore, all the things that you come for in any Scream movie. All right. This is a continuation of like the new direction of the franchise, Taylor. I think just we're out of Woodsboro. Do you like this direction? Hit me.
It was funny because initially in my head, I was like, oh my God, this is the first time we're out of Woodsboro. But then I kind of went back and thought about it. It was like, wait, in the second movie, they're on the college campus. In the third movie, there's a lot of stuff in LA, even though we get a lot of remnants of the old. I kind of came to this realize I felt so dumb. I don't know why in my head. I was like, this is the first time we're completely out. But I think it's the first time we're not seeing some of those iconic set pieces like Stu's house involved in any of it. So originally when I heard that they were doing this, I was kind of put off by it. But I think they actually utilized the setting pretty well. There's some very cool set pieces involved, some very cool action pieces specific to the New York system that you would not be able to do with Woodsboro. So shockingly, I actually was very impressed with the way they utilized the new setting. I mean, how did you feel coming off the fifth one and moving into a new spot?
Well, to your point, right, I think they even overtly say in the movie, like they're, it's matching like the order of the original Scream 1, 2, 3, right? And like the return to a campus, moving out of Woodsboro a little bit. I thought it was really fun to explore an urban space as opposed to suburbia. Was a great thing, not having lived in a huge city like New York. I was just really curious, like, can you really get away with like serial murder killing people in the streets and subways? So kind of something fun to explore, skeptical at times maybe, but obviously murder happens in New York. I was digging it. I think, with the new location, we are also exploring this new cast. I know this is a big controversy, like, can they carry the Scream franchise the same as the OG characters? You're going to have better insight to this, Taylor. Well, just your initial thoughts. Is it working so far, not working so far?
Like, full disclosure, no one's ever going to be like the iconic, like our trio. Of course, like I'm an OG Scream fan till the end. So nothing is ever going to like be better than that for me. However, I will say, number 5, I left going, can these characters actually carry this through? Number 6, I left going, I think they can do it. So I was pleasantly surprised that I felt like, much like you would want any sequel to do, I feel like they really emphasize character development, especially with the 4 returning characters. Really prioritized fleshing them out a bit more, giving them some more material to work with as opposed to the 5th one. It made me like certain characters significantly more than I did last time. I don't know how I'm going to feel when we get to the point, because I feel like this is inevitable, that the original group is not involved anymore. But I as a franchise that's moving forward, that's just kind of the natural progression of things. And I'm just pleasantly surprised that I'm not dreading the next one or concerned about the next one. I guess as a new Scream person, like, how did you feel about them kind of taking the mantle more so than the fifth one even?
So I think, even you had mentioned in our pre-discussion, kind of like Sam Carpenter, Tara Carpenter's, the sisters are being kind of a little better dynamic in this movie. It seems like it's starting to work more. Maybe they're just settling into the roles, or we've got a little more history with them on screen to play with. So I did think that that's working a little bit better. I thought that at times the screenwriting in this kind of actually limited that in a way. Like it was like forcing certain moments. So actually there were times where out of all the Scream movies, well, not all the Scream movies, let's compare it to the last one at least, Scream 5. I felt like it was maybe getting a little forced at times with the screenwriting.
I'm excited to chat about this later.
Just kind of like, just kind of takes you out of that like dynamic between the characters, which is unfortunate. But it was still, really fun, really witty. I think at the end of the day, it's just what you expect out of these movies, and so you can roll with it. It's at the end of the day not necessarily there to like haunt you and scare you, but it's to like poke holes in the horror genre. It's to be playful along the way, and then of course, like a little bit of social critique in there as well.
Which I think was a fun addition. I mean, it's always been there, but there's definitely been an emphasis on the horror genre specifically. And I think this one obviously commented on franchises, but then managed to also comment on like what happens in real life with the online narratives and conspiracy theories and villainization of people. And I thought that was cool because I don't know that we've always gotten that from a Scream movie. So that was nice.
Yeah. So to keep this spoiler-free section short, I want to dive into a little bit of the gore and violence.
Yeah.
Obviously, Scream always sends it. There were definitely some fun deaths in here. How's it compared to some of the other movies, Taylor?
I have to say, I still think Scream 4, to my recollection, I could be wrong if somebody, it's debatable, I guess, but in terms of the goriest kill, I still think Scream 4 it's like a single kill, but it was like definitely the most gory I've seen out of the franchise. However, this one, I felt like upped it from number 5. I felt like the stabs especially were like super brutal in a way that we haven't seen. 5 had a particularly gnarly one, but I think this felt more violent, I guess. Did you feel like that, or did you get a different vibe?
Interesting. So I think I want to distinguish between violence and gore, because to me,
good point.
This movie actually felt like there was some pretty great gore, but was not as horrifically violent as like, the OG Scream, like Scream 1. Obviously that opening scene in like Scream 1 is like
one beats
violent.
That,
yeah, it's never close to it. But this never had any moments that quite came close to that in my perspective, where you were just like horrified by one of the deaths. Like that's just like really truly haunted you. Like they were fun deaths, but nothing where you were just like shocked.
I feel like what you're saying, I feel like what you're saying, where I do agree with you, but I think there's a different terminology, is that the deaths might not have felt as impactful as that opening. But I feel like, brutally speaking, like there's a lot of like stabbing, knife twisting, going up, going down, like ways that we've never seen that. A lot of damage to the face, which we don't usually deal with a ton. That I felt like was pretty violent, especially like teeth getting knocked out and like shit like that. Like, so I felt like it was more violent and more aggressive and more gory, but I would agree with you in saying that you maybe don't have as much of an emotional gut punch. Like it's almost like you said, like kind of more fun to see versus really being horrified. I think you're right.
Like, super squeamish, like, oh god, you feel bad for the character on screen. Right?
Yeah.
Well, so that sort of also gets to like the tension, suspense. I felt that this was not a largely suspenseful movie. It just didn't land in that regard in almost any way. Like, opening scene, you always are like, you have, Scream's known for these like great suspenseful opening scenes. It wasn't landing for me. The climatic scenes at the end weren't landing for me in like suspenseful ways. Your thoughts on that?
This is going to be so much fun to get into the spoiler section because I feel like we're on totally different pages. I love it. No, I love it. Okay. I thoroughly enjoyed, especially like Scream 5 played around with the camera more and had some fun with suspense regarding that. But I feel like this movie gave us the chase scenes we were so desperately thirsty for. I think it gave us like 3 very good scenes in particular that I was a little stressed out going like, in the theater. Like I could see myself kind of fidgeting a bit, just being genuinely concerned for some of the characters. I really enjoyed the build up. I don't think it was like so crazy that, like when we talked about Black Phone where my face was like kept moving forward. It wasn't quite that level, but I really enjoyed it. I love a ghost chase, a ghost face chase scene. And I think this delivered a couple different times in different ways where it never felt repetitive to me.
Okay, fair. Well, all that being said, I need bottom line from you, Taylor. What's Total Monsters Under the Bed? It's now we've been off of recording for a while. I can't remember. We're talking about out of 5 stars?
4. Wait,
that's right. So we don't have a middle ground. No, you're right.
I was like, what? Yes,
we're forgetting our own show format.
Wow, bad.
Let us kick off the rust. Okay, Taylor, Monsters Under Your Bed. How scary is this out of 4 Monsters Under Your Bed?
We kind of talked about this, covering these movies, is that it's hard because I don't feel like they're so scary per se. It's like more commentary on the genre. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, there's some really good suspense and some great chase scenes and some great gore. But I don't think outside of maybe the opening kill and even the first one, you leave a lot of Scream movies being scared. So it's a tough one because I don't mean to diminish its quality. Yeah. But I just don't go home thinking about Ghostface, especially because let's be honest, at the end of every Scream movie, Ghostface is gone. We don't have to worry about it lingering or the psychological after effects. Yeah, so it's wrapped up in a tidy bow by the end. So for me, scary wise, it's going to be a 2, which is pretty consistent with how I rate most of the Scream movies. How would you rate this one?
2, and that 2-star is not a 1-star because of the gore. It's a gore intensive movie, and if you don't like the idea of being stabbed, it's going to be a 2. So overall rating of the movie, Taylor, out of 4 stars. I feel like
we're gonna differ here. We're definitely gonna differ here. I feel like
I want to hear. Come on.
So funny enough, I really am thinking that this is beating number 5 for me, and I'm actually like gonna go back and say that I would probably give Scream 5 now more of a 2.5, and I would give this one the 3. I liked this one. I can't even believe I'm saying this about a sequel. I can't. Like, this is shocking to myself, but I liked this better. I felt like the acting was better. The dynamics were more fleshed out than they had been. Again, some excellent set pieces. This movie found a way to balance, like, giving an homage to the original, but moving much further away into more franchise territory where you get these new characters getting to do more and be more a part of the story. I give it a lot of credit for doing that. You up the gore, you up the violence. That's always a win for me in terms of a sequel. Yeah. That's always what you want to see. So for me, this delivered on all the sequel check boxes that you would actually want to see. So I've got to give it a 3. I'm curious though, as it's very clear we have different opinions. What is your rating on this one?
It's a very meh 3. It's like, it's like because they've just like got the formula so down, like succinctly, so they're so tight as a filmmaking crew that you can't like deny it's a great movie. It's just been done 6 times, you know? So it's hard to like, you know, really give it any more than that. I almost want to give it a 2 just because it's like, God damn it, stop being good, you know, like start sucking like every other franchise. But they've earned at least a 3 in my opinion. So go watch the damn movie. It's great entertainment. If you're a fan of Scream, you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to continue to love it. You know, it is what it is. We all know what we're getting into, and it doesn't let us down.
No, it's not by any means. Look, this isn't going to blow your mind in its complexity, though I do think there are some very cool themes that emerge, especially regarding trauma. And like I said, some of the more current things we deal with, like social media and conspiracy theories. But it is a slasher at the end of the day. It's not the quote unquote elevated horror that they mentioned in the 5th one. It's not that, but I felt like it was a damn good time. I'm very much looking forward to rewatching this one. So I highly recommend you go watch it. Obviously, we're going to spoil the whole damn thing for you, so you can make that choice if you want to know ahead of time. Someone like myself was unfortunately spoiled by the infamous Twitter leak that happened. Yeah, we'll get into that. And honest to God, it didn't ruin it for me. So if you really want to hear us give you the whole thing, I think you're still going to have a good time. But, you know, it's always fun to be guessing by the end.
Absolutely. So stick around, y'all. We got a themed cocktail for you, and we're going to get into our deep dive critique.
Welcome to the podcast Under Your Bed. There'll be drinks, critique, and perhaps a few murders. You're all invited, but once the podcast has begun, there's no way out. The ghosts are waiting, so won't you join me for the podcast Under Your Bed?
You have to let me go, Sam!
My God, I cannot even. I just stopped what I was doing. I liked it. You're a hater.
The worst part of the movie. The worst part of the fucking movie.
It's a little on the nose.
Overt much? No, God damn it. Like, that's what I mean about this particular Scream. Obviously, Scream's known for being like overt, but it's always in like a critical way, like a poking fun way. This time, I mean, not that it hasn't happened before, but the daughter or the sister relationship, like, you gotta let me go, you know, like, I just, in that moment, in that climatic scene, like, it was just dumb, like hanging off the edge of the building, like, oh, you gotta let me go. But that being said,
we are gonna talk about that in a minute.
The results that happened afterwards
were
so fun. Absolutely loved it. Like, I loved it, just like grabbing the knife, dropping down, and
it was beautiful. And she took a stab for that. Yeah, oh my God. All right, guys, CJ caught me off guard with that, and we're literally going to get into a full discussion about that in a minute. But before we get there, you tricked me with that one. I was in the middle of a fake death, and I had to stop what I was doing. Let's go over our theme cocktail before we get into the plot and the nitty gritty, so you know exactly the context of what we're talking about. So this cocktail, this feels very fitting because technically the first episode we filmed was for Scream 5, and we used a Geeks Who Eat recipe that was kind of like it tasted kind of like a Snapple, like a strawberry kiwi Snapple. Yeah, and so they took this, though, and they revved it up and made it a little bit more fancy schmancy. So what we have is the Woodsboro Slasher from Geeks Who Eat. This has some rum. It's got some dark pineapple rum, which was new to me. It tastes very good. Some homemade strawberry puree, some kiwi syrup, and some lime juice. So again, you get all the Snapple elements, but they're just like a lot less sugary tasting. So that's definitely a win for me. Now, guys, if you're like me and you like it a little less sweet, I might recommend slightly more booze and slightly more lime juice just to counteract that kiwi juice in particular. But really good. It's an easy one. If you've got the puree, especially, it's like a 5-minute cocktail. So you really got to appreciate that. And this one is just a nice elevation on what came before it, much how I feel about the movie. But before we get into our big discussion about it, CJ is going to completely spoil the plot. And full disclosure, in all transparency and honesty, we write these on our own usually, but due to the fact that we're trying to get this episode out within a week of its release, it's in the theaters. You can't stream it anywhere. Pause and take notes, we had to rip off Wikipedia. This is literally in the almost full year we've done this, the first time we've ever cheated and used Wikipedia. But today, the spoiler-free summary, as read by CJ, is from Wikipedia. Just full disclosure there. And the spoilers are coming hard, guys. If you don't want to hear it, duck out now.
And also full disclosure, I have had a crazy week, so I just sipped our theme cocktail. I'm going with a little Irish coffee for St. Patty's Day. And I gotta give a shout out here. My kids made me some green pancakes for St. Patty's Day, so I get to eat as we go here. Well, let me just get ready for this review or this plot summary. Oh my goodness, one swig of the drink to get through it.
That's right. And again, this is all the spoilers for this new film. So if you don't want to know, this is literally your last warning. We are getting into it all.
Okay. 1 year after Woodsboro killings, orchestrated by Richie and Amber Freeman, Blackmore University film professor Lauren Crane is catfished by her student Jason, who lures her outside a bar in New York City and then kills her while wearing a Ghostface costume. Jason has been plotting with his roommate Greg to kill sisters Sam and Tara in order to finish Rich's film. However, Jason receives a call from a different Ghostface, who has murdered Greg and subsequently stabs Jason to death. Sam and Tara now live in New York City with fellow survivors Chad and Mindy, and roommate Quinn Bailey, along with Mindy's girlfriend Anika and Chad's roommate Ethan. All of whom attend all of whom attend Blackmore University. Sam attends therapy with Dr. Stone and is ostracized in public due to an online conspiracy theory that she orchestrated Woodsboro killings and framed Richie for it. Oof.
Oh boy.
Quinn's father, Detective Wayne Bailey, calls Sam in for questioning as her ID was found at the scene of Jason's murder, along with a Ghostface mask the Ghostface mask used by Richie and Amber. On the way to the station, however, Sam is called by Ghostface from Richie's phone, who then attacks Tara and pursues them into a bodega, killing multiple bystanders and leaving another Ghostface mask which was used by Jill Roberts and Charlie Walker in the 2011 Woodsboro killings.
Number four.
Shout out. The sisters meet with FBI agent Kirby Reed, a survivor of the 2011 killings. Throwback. And then reporter Gail Weathers, who reveals that Sidney Prescott and her family have gone into hiding in response to the attacks. Dr. Stone is murdered by Ghostface, who steals Sam's files and leaves the mask, which was used by Roman Bridger, the killer from the Hollywood attacks. Ghostface then attacks the group in Sam and Tara's apartment, killing Quinn and Annika, and leaves the mask used by Mickey Latreri. Wayne is officially taken off the case following Quinn's death, but vows to avenge his daughter. Gail takes the group to an abandoned cinema she found while investigating, which has been set up as a shrine to the Ghostface killers, including weapons and outfits from each set of attacks. Ghostface later calls Gail at her apartment and torments her about the death of Dewey Riley before killing her boyfriend and attacking her. Sam and Tara arrive in time to stop Ghostface from killing Gail. The group agreed to meet Kirby at the theater to trap Ghostface. On the subway platform, they are separated and Mindy is stabbed by Ghostface. At the theater, Sam sees a vision of her father, original Ghostface killer Billy Loomis, who reminds her to defend herself and not trust anyone. Taking Billy's knife, Sam realizes they've been locked inside the theater.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wayne calls Sam and says he found out Kirby was fired from the FBI months prior for being mentally unstable. Two Ghostface appear and attack Chad. As Tara and Sam try to escape, Kirby and Wayne both arrive with guns drawn. Wayne shoots Kirby, revealing himself as a third Ghostface. He admits to orchestrating the killings with his children, revealed to be Ethan, and he's still alive, Quinn, to avenge Richie's death, who was the eldest son. They reveal their plan to kill Sam and frame her as Ghostface, making her the final piece of the shrine to honor Richie. Sam and Tara fight off the Bailey family, with Tara stabbing Ethan and Sam killing Quinn. Sam then dons her father's Ghostface costume and stabs Wayne to death. Ethan resurfaces, but Kirby smashes the television set that killed Stu Macher over his head, killing him. Sam agrees to let Tara live her life more independently, and Tara agrees to go to therapy. As the still alive Mindy, Chad, and Kirby are taken to the hospital, Sam stares at her father's Ghostface mask before discarding it and following Tara into the city.
The end.
All right. You know, there's like rereading the plot summary. There's like some like fun throwbacks and callbacks that does like elevate this movie in a way. In the time watching the movie, I don't know, like, yes, you recognize those shout outs, those callbacks, but I don't know if it was necessarily like as climatic as like maybe it could have been, or I don't know.
I really enjoyed the throwbacks because to me, I think we're something like, let's say the Star Wars requels, they're so reliant on the throwbacks to get them through and to push the plot. But where I felt like this one succeeded for me, where other movies have not, is that they were very present, but they didn't detract from what was happening in the moment. Especially the theater scene in particular, it's its own thing, but it doesn't like overshadow any of the rest of the plot or the moments when they're happening. It's just the Ghostface mask that's left behind, that then we get the clue that the DNA belongs to whichever killers from whichever movie, which now that I'm reading that back too, I'm wondering, I swear Billy's mom was one of her masks. Oh, should she not wear a mask? She didn't wear a mask. Nope, I just answered my own question. I was really confused. I was like, well, where's her mask? But no, I get it. But again, it just to my point, I felt like it was sprinkled in appropriately. The older characters were utilized in a way that never felt to me like, oh, we're just trying to get you really invested right now. It was fun to have Kirby back, but it never felt like a detraction. I mean, I know you're not as versed in it, so how did you feel about the callbacks and slash or returning characters.
I thought the callbacks were fun and playful. It's you know, I thought like Billy Loomis like returning in the like premonition, whatever, like psychosis thing she's experiencing.
I don't even know.
I actually liked it better this movie because it was so brief and sort of just like part of her character as opposed to this guiding force almost.
It was like Mufasa last time. It was awful.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're right though.
This is what you must do. Like,
grab the knife, Simba.
Yeah. So exactly, it's sort of grab the knife, Simba. I love it. But it kind of like it was just a little more subtle. It was still there as part of her, and we could move forward. It didn't like take me out of the movie in some way. You know, Kirby's character, when she first came on screen, I was just like, what the fuck are they trying to do here? Like, she's too young, too like green to be this like refined FBI agent on the scene. You know, it just felt like some sort of like bad tween like movie when it first happened. But you know, Scream can always get away with it because what do they do? They make fun of it. You know, when Gale Weathers like, I didn't know they were like kids on the force now. You know, so
I like that exchange.
It totally redeems it, right? Which I actually thought, like, with that, there was like a ton of like fun screenwriting plays where, you know, the first time Gal appears on screen, Sam
obsessed with this,
swing at her, right, and misses, and she gets that witty line, like, I can't remember what it was. Like, I've been in this movie.
So like
before,
I've done this before, you know. Type of
idea, right? But of course she catches the like slug from Terra like off screen. Like, so it's definitely kind of fun to be able to play with those dynamics of, you know, averting expectations or at least poking fun of what they know is like kind of overtly stupid.
Totally agree with you there. And I am just curious what you thought, especially with the scene with Kirby and Mindy, because they're very much, and I know you didn't see Scream 4, but they're very much cut from the same cloth in terms of like, honestly, Kirby was our character for that in Scream 4, being the horror movie nerd who knew what was up and had all the knowledge behind it.
Talent recognizes talent or whatever the line was.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you feel like that was like, did you feel like it was like too much, or did you feel like it was like a passing of the torch, or did you feel like it was just kind of this like fun scene to get these two common characters together?
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I want to rewatch that for sure and think about like what my answers would be to see if I like am in parallel with them. I can't remember off the top of my head having seen it in theaters one time, you know, what the questions were again, but I really enjoyed that playful moment. It was kind of that nice like lull before the storm, to give you a little humor before like the dramatic ending, kind of put you at ease. So let's talk about this ending. I think there's a lot of fun in this theater. There's some like fun ideas with like the shrine area being built and like wanting to finish this movie that was made, and then like literally entering the movie, becoming the movie. You know, but probably some issues with the reveal. Where are you landing?
Oh man, so much to unpack there. So first off, I just want to say that set piece is amazing, and it's what every fan would want to be seeing, like to have everything called back, like every character, even the ones that you weren't as fond of. I'm looking at you, Roman. It was still nice to like see all the robes and all the memorabilia and see Dewey's stuff. And I thought what was very cool too is like these characters coming face to face with this thing that happened to them, like Kirby stopping at Jill's costume and pausing for a moment, being like, yeah, I got stabbed with Charlie's knife right there. You know, like it's cool because we really haven't seen them like look at that stuff and be like, oh, this fucking happened to me, and everybody kind of has a different reaction, which is really cool. So I just want to throw some extra credit to that scene, the set, and how they gave every character kind of a different way to look at the stuff, which was great, because obviously Gale was really upset. Sam's kind of weirdly connecting with her dad. Kirby's dealing with this trauma, like very interesting dynamics there. The thing about a Scream reveal is it is only hit and miss. It is very hard to just say there's a middle ground there. And I'm not going to lie. For me, like, I love that there were 3 Ghostface. I'm so into that because we've done 2, except for the third one. So I was jazzed we mixed it up. Not mad about it. I felt like, though, it was really kind of, I didn't mind the, like, I'm avenging my kid thing. I guess I was kind of okay with that. But where I felt like I was like, what? Is I'm like, so just to be clear, this guy's a cop. He's like, or a detective or whatever. And his son is super into these real life killings, which already is to me like a big old red flag. But not only that, you're going to like buy your kid this real life murder merchandise. Like, that to me was insane. I was like, this guy, though I want to give him a lot of credit. He camped it up. He camped it up, and I appreciate that. He's like, yeah, of course it was me. Like, I thought that was kind of funny, but the reveal to me, like, wasn't great. I guess, how did you feel about that reveal, about that motivation? Were you surprised? Because it got spoiled for me, so I'm curious, like, did you see that coming? Did you not? Like,
I'm cool with the motivation and the reveal of the dad. Where I got lost was like recruiting his other kids to partake. What could have been maybe another way to approach it that could have been a little more sellable is if he didn't know that his other two kids decided to also carry that torch. Instead of having like gone into this as like this fun family activity, if they instead like somehow figured out their dad was doing this, or just completely separately decided to avenge their brother, it could have played in a way that was a little more believable than like, I'm getting the whole gang involved and we're gonna murder. Like, it just didn't work for me.
It's convoluted too, right? Did you feel like the posing like getting your real kid's body, like faking her death is not only one thing, but then you found a corpse, quote unquote? What?
Yeah, everyone's got a dead body laying around, especially detectives. It was an awful big hurdle to get over, and they're gonna put. I mean, again, to your point, like the reveals being so hit and miss, like at this point in the franchise, maybe the writers just like, fuck it. Like, this is a miss. We're okay with that. Like it was the ride along the way, not the destination that counts here.
And actually, to be fair, I'm curious what you think about this, because I feel like the motivation and reveal were weak, but I felt like everything that went after that, I actually really did enjoy. Like, I enjoyed the whole ending to it. So I'm curious, like, did you feel like that salvaged based on like the violence and the chaos and everything that was going on? Did you feel like that salvaged that motivation, or did it separate?
There. You need to let me go. All right. That was the moment where I was like, okay, we're really fucking here. Like dangling off the edge of the burning building, right? Like, it's so bad Hollywood. But that being said, it was fine because it redeems itself with, great sister murder sequences, which is really fun. I think seeing Tara's like first like great murder is just wonderful. Like, she picks up the torch, aka the knife, and just it's so great. And then
tens across the board.
Sam's unhinged, and Tara kind of realizing like, oh fuck, my sister fucked the shit out of that guy. Whoa!
But she also gave her permission too. She also gave her permission to end Bailey, where it was like at first, she's like, I'm not a killer. I'm not my dad. And then Tara's kind of like, girl, just like do it. And she's like, okay, I'll shoot this guy in the head. Like, I kind of like that.
Y'all got fucked up, family, man. But I actually thought that was maybe one of the best parts of the movie was their 2 murders at the end. Super fantastic.
It was so satisfying, and honestly, I forget who hits her. I want to say it was Sam, though, when she hits Quinn with that brick and knocks her fucking teeth out. I was like, holy shit.
Brilliant. I loved it. Before we get to some of those great violent moments and deaths on screen, I gotta say the problem with the ending was also another problem, was being like immediately followed up with like, everyone survives! Yay! I was kind of like, fuck, we can let 1 or 2 go. Come on. Especially with the like overt discussion of like, OG characters got to be off in this movie, and anyone can go at this point, even the main, even the lead femme characters, so I was kind of hoping that they would be a little more bold in who they kill off. You're okay with it?
I am totally okay with it. So here's the thing. So if we're comparing this to Scream 2, which actually the motivations are very similar in Scream 2, so it is kind of interesting to see that dynamic play out, but in a very different way. Scream 2, though, we technically start with a core 4, technically, in that, and then Jamie Kennedy's character gets killed off, which was like pretty shocking, but people were also like pretty fucking livid about it at the time when it happened. So what I think is kind of funny about this one is that, yes, it's very similar in that most of our crew does make it out and they're fine. But here's my thing, like, I don't love when characters just killed off for shock value, like a Game of Thrones situation. Like, I want it to be meaningful. I want it to be something. And like, to me, I felt like they were trying to build up all these characters to have a franchise continue. And my guess is like, there's logistically no way all 4 making it out in the next movie. But I felt like they wanted them to like pass the torch. They wanted them to carry this franchise and to like continue building these dynamics. And if I'm fully honest, there's not a character in that group that I want to see murdered right now. And I did not feel that way in Scream 5. Going into Scream 6, I was like, this person could go, this person could go. But Scream 6, I cared. I guess my question is there, out of the 4, like, or out of the even, I guess you could theoretically say out of the 6 returning characters that you're like, I would have wanted to see them to go, or there's a reason for that?
Gail. Offer. Yep. Sorry, I said it. All right.
No!
All right. 2 things. 1, they said everyone is at risk in this movie. Like, everyone could potentially go. And we didn't lose anybody. And then I was so happy because I was like,
just nobody that mattered.
Exactly. So then we get to Gal's like ghost face case scene in her apartment condo, whatever. And
good scene though. Good chase scene.
Fun scene off the boyfriend. But I was like, oh wow, they're really like building this scene up and like making it this lasting scene because they're gonna offer, and they never did. She fucking made it through. Like I just don't think like let's move on from the OG Scream franchise and let's carry the torch forward with the new crew. Do it, give it to us, and we're ready for it. I'm ready for it. Here's where I say that literally could not have happened in this movie. And I feel like you're going to get where I'm coming from by the end of this. Could not have happened. So, you're already lying.
No, this could not have happened in this movie for one reason and one reason only. Sidney Prescott was not in it. You cannot kill off Gale Weathers without Sidney Prescott being a part of the franchise. Now, if she came back in the next one and they killed Gale off, I could see that working out somehow, even though I don't want it, but I could see it working out. You cannot kill off this legacy character on her own. It does not work. You can't do it. You can't.
Well, then they should have had her involved.
They should have paid her money, CJ. They should have given her the goddamn check she deserved, and we all fucking know it.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
next time, don't fuck it up, people. Paramount, give her the money.
Yeah. All right. I agree. But, you could have, moved. You could have left that out, I guess. Like, she didn't have to be. She could have just made the cameo. She didn't have to be chased down by Ghostface. But, I mean, all right, you got her there. You're going to use her. Fine. It's a logistical issue. But that sounds like bullshit to me. A BS excuse for doing the right thing.
I liked her cameo. I felt like it was a different side of Gale, and also, came face to face with something that has kind of been mentioned in every franchise, that, what is Gale without Ghostface? And I thought that was kind of interesting that they brought that up. And she's always been a character who's kind of on the fringe of being ethical and also being driven for her career, and how those don't always align, that she is exploiting people, but it's also her story and what she's gone through. And so I thought I liked her coming back. I thought they gave her a great scene to work with. I thought she had very fun banter with the returning characters, and that they all came to a good place in the end.
The wit about calling Ghostface back, redial or whatever, and then shoot.
Oh my god,
it was great.
I thought was an OG move. That was
that was some smart shit.
I love when it's the same in 5 when Sydney is I'm over this or whatever, and Gale's you're gonna have to hold on, and just hangs up, and you're that only the OG crew could get away with that, and you respect it big time.
For sure. All right. Talking about scenes like this, let's get to the opening scene.
Yes, yes.
Perhaps. During the first scene, all right, no, let me rephrase. The first murder was a letdown to me. Probably to everybody. It's just, if you always want an iconic opening death, for any fucking horror film. And this was not that. Yes, it sort of subverted your expectations, and you got a more iconic second death. But there's no reason why the first one can't be great too. It just felt like a false open that I was not excited about.
Here's my thing. These are some basic ass bitches. We already know that from their apartment, and the fact that the horror movies they have referenced in their apartment are all good, but they're basic. They're basic. So what I think is so much fun about this opening scene is you're what the fuck is up? This Ghostface is off his game. What is going down? This is really funky. Yeah. It's a very clunky scene. For a Ghostface kill. For a Ghostface kill, it feels clunky. So you're what is going down? So then when you get that trick reveal that this is not going to be the people that we're following, and also it was just kind of shocking to have that reveal off the bat, and for the most douchebaggery reasons possible, being she didn't like your Giallo paper, and so fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? So it was, I thought that was really fun. It's totally different than anything we've done. We've never even seen a Ghostface unmasked ever in an opening. That's a good time. The subverting of expectations is a good time. However, I do have to say this because it's just a fact. No single female, unless you're the most thirsty bitch out there, you are not going into that fucking alley, and you're especially not going in further into the alley when someone is oh, I can't see you. I'd be
someone's chasing me. I might die. Come help me.
However, I have to say, Samara Weaving, I fucking love with all of my heart, and I think she, acting-wise, did an excellent job of, this very very like kind of like awkward first date, despite the fact that she's like super hot. She played it so well, and she did a great job, and it was fun to have her in it. And I'm used to seeing her as a final girl, so it was a good time to see her coming in this cameo kill, which I feel like was pretty obvious from the marketing. But it just, I don't know, I thought it was fun. I think if that had just been the opening, you would have like cried at how bad it was, but then it really shifted gears coming into that second situation.
Yeah, then you get the body reveal in the fridge. Amazing.
Oh, so dope. Yeah.
and then you get the murder. So fun, different. Again, just think that first death could have been a little more iconic. But
sure,
totally hear
I think
you
that's
out.
the point. But I think that's the point. But I get what you mean. Like, could they have amped it a bit or done a little more tension or something? Yeah, for sure. But again, I think their amateur hour, and it really shows in that first kill that those two would not be able to pull this off.
Yeah, so some, like Ghostface, like that's part of it, right? Is like Ghostface really deserves a good murderer, like a great, like, someone unhinged, and they weren't cutting it as these like pussy ass college students. Like,
no, and wasn't it kind of satisfying where I feel like the opening kill, you usually feel so bad for whoever's getting murdered, but this one you're like, you deserve that. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, okay, fuck it.
Fuck it.
I'd love to talk about some of the best deaths, best and worst. Which ones were working for you?
I mean, I think the only one, to be honest, for me that I was like, Jesus, really, is the bodega death scene, because I don't love Ghostface with a gun or a shotgun in particular. So I think, in all honesty, the only one that didn't work for me so much was even though the tension was good in the bodega scene, I don't like seeing Ghostface with a shotgun. If he has a gun at all, it should only be in the last act. It's just my personal opinion.
Right.
So to me, that was kind of like the weaker ones. But
I thought that was an interesting scene, though, in the sense that it was early in the movie and exploring the New York City landscape. So it was so dramatically different. Like, how can you get away with murdering in, like, it wasn't broad daylight, but it basically is when you're in New York City, everything's broad daylight. So I thought
how'd
it
you
was
like that mirror thing?
that.
I felt like you would have liked that. I wasn't sure though.
Oh man, remind me specifically.
So you know how like any kind of corner store or bodega or whatever has those kind of like mirrors so that the owner or the shopkeeper can watch like what's going down? Yeah. So they're like trying to evade him, but they use the mirror.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was fine. Like, I think we've seen this in other movies, right? But I think that was one of the fun things is, like, any indie filmmaker has filmed in some gas station scene. They're kind of accessible locations that are usually, like, willing to, like, let you in the off hours or, like, some slow hours film. And so it was kind of fun as a filmmaker to see, like, the exploration of that space with, like, a really talented team. And what is kind of in a lot of ways like a pretty overdone scene, like some sort of like shootout in like a gas station bodega. So I thought it was fun. It was great. Like they made some smart choices on how to evade Ghostface and get in the shop owner or the guy behind the register involved was pretty fun as well. I agree with the shotgun. Like when he picked it up, I was like, well, okay, I'm fine. But it kind of like gave you this like sense of, is like Ghostface evolving in some way. So
yeah.
But
was that your least favorite then, or did you have a least favorite beyond that?
All right, least favorite.
Because we haven't gotten into best, but let's go with least favorite first.
Least favorite was the latter death. I'm sorry.
Annika's death? Shut up, girl. Okay, why?
It just felt so stupid. Like, all right, cool. You got like an escape ladder in your room. You're going to use that as a bridge. it was so drawn out and so dramatic. Anybody can move across that ladder faster. Like, I get it.
No. I'd be dead. I would have gotten murdered already.
If Ghostface was behind you, you'd be scurrying the fuck across.
Hell no! I am so scared of heights. There is a 0% chance you'd see me crossing that ladder in the first place.
Ah, man,
Okay,
fair enough.
I'll try my best
Right.
against Ghostface. No way.
That aside, she's on the ladder in the middle. Ghostface grabs it on one side. You got our other protagonist trying to get her across on the other side, and that part was also just so drawn out. Like Ghostface could have just like manhanded and like handled it straight over.
There's like three of them on the other side though, holding it.
The laws of physics saying like this, you could get enough torque on it. I think you can handle it. Or you give it like a firm shove forward, like just 3 inches, and she just fucking plummets to her death. I don't know. Something about it just felt like, oh man, this is just taking too long. Like, just off her already. But her face smashing the dumpster on the way down, that was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet.
Plus, you are forgetting that prior to that, she got one of the gnarlier stabs. Like, she got a hardcore motherfucking stab in that one. Like, it was a
I got that, but she was the only one struggling
and
across the bridge.
She got stabbed in the stomach. Of course she struggled to get across. My guts would be hanging out.
That's fine. I'm all for it, but I mean, it just felt drawn out in an unnecessary way.
All right. I won't fight you. I won't fight you too hard on that one.
My expectations is I actually thought the therapist's death was going to be worse than it was. That was awesome. Through the glass door into the eye, like that was a great death.
It was dope. And smashing his head into that bar that between the door was really good too.
That was pretty great.
Can I just say real quick, and this is such a nitpicky thing, but I literally almost threw my popcorn in the theater. I was like, this is so inaccurate. I just want to clarify. If you're a therapist and somebody is describing to you something that happened in their past, first off, no therapist is going to change their face like that. That's insane. That was an insane face to make. Second off, you cannot, and I mean legally, cannot report someone to the authorities because you're concerned that they theoretically might do something. The only time per law that you break confidentiality is if this person was like, I'm going to CJ's house today. I got a gun in my bag and I'm going to do it. That is the only time. So I lost my shit with the therapist. I was like, this is dumb.
Even as an outsider to the world, I was like, she didn't say anything about wanting to hurt someone. Just that she was worried about the connection to her father and the feeling she got when she had to defend herself.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing there indicated that she actually wanted to. So maybe the guy had the doctor had clearly known about some of the conspiracy theory stuff, I think, and may have gotten cold feet, oh shit, this chick's a murderer and I need her out of my house or something. But I was on board with you there, Taylor.
Thank you. I was happy I was like, this is just false advertisement for therapy people. I was like, this is not accurate.
Before we get too far away from it, do you have a favorite death?
Okay. I struggle to pick a best one because there were actually some solid ones, but I think in the end I'm going to go with Ethan only because not only did Tara slam a knife into the back of his head through his mouth, which I already dug that, but then you get the piece de resistance with getting smashed by Stu Macher's TV by Kirby. It was just yes. The fan service I wanted and didn't know I needed. So I guess, what's your favorite death? I just enjoyed that one.
I think I liked Sam killing the detective at the end.
In the gun.
Just my favorites, I think. Just excessive stabbing is just so fabulous.
It is.
Now,
it's pretty good.
Now, another great moment for gore was the reveal of sorry, what the fuck's her name? The chick in the bathtub, Quinn. I thought that was super great. That's some like
I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming.
Oh no! Well, I mean, I guess I was expecting some sort of like body reveal, but that was intense. That was a lot. So I did enjoy that moment.
Wait. Who was in that? Wait, I think we're getting confused. Who was in the bathtub?
The detective's daughter.
Quinn got thrown out onto the floor.
Am I backwards? Who?
Yeah, her.
The guy.
Her guy friend. Her guy friend.
Yeah. You're right. I had that fucked up with my.
Okay. We'll back it up again.
But,
okay.
No. So I thought that one was a sweet body reveal. And then I mean that about sums it up for my like favorite death moments, I guess. I mean those are all really great.
I'm curious too, how did you feel about, for me, like I've said it multiple times now, like I really enjoyed the character dynamics in this one. Specifically, what I thought was really fun was that there's like a two-parter to this for me. One, I thought it was really interesting how everybody had kind of a different trauma response, which was very interesting. Mm-hmm. Like Tara's response was to kind of go out. Yeah, to kind of go out and ignore it and pretend it wasn't as big of a deal. Sam's really actively trying to deal with it with therapy. And then I like that you get this group that's kind of got this chosen family dynamic as well. Mm-hmm. But what really sold me, especially with Chad and Mindy, is like when they get stabbed, how kind of heartbroken they are. And they're like, I don't want to do this again. Like, this is really scary. And like, it was a very like real moment to me. Like, and I think even Tara has a moment like that too. When she's like, when is this done? Like, this is awful. And people are dying and we're getting like really like brutally attacked. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. So I'm curious of your opinion on that. And then I'm just curious what you felt about the quote unquote core four and just their dynamics within each other. Cause I've got some feelings on those too, but what did you think about the trauma response, which I thought was pretty interesting?
So I felt that they all respond in very like realistic, understandable ways. And, you know, they're really starting to flesh out as characters. And that's helping, you know, motivate them all and helping build the dynamics between sisters and friends and kind of bond that core four group, which, you know, obviously giving the group a name is pretty stupid, but also, you know, we accept it because what the fuck, it's Scream. They can get away with it.
And Chad, I think, delivers it in a way that no other, like if any of the other characters said it, you'd be like, no.
Core four? Anybody?
Core four. It was like, it was one too many times by the end, but I did think overall it was a kind of cute sentiment that I could get behind. It was a great way to kind of break that idea, right? It's kind of like attention in that room. I want to throw out a fun character though that, you know, didn't get any mention yet is the boyfriend interest, Danny. Like, what a clutch dude. Like, solid. Danny.
I thought he was actually like the most relatable guy. Like, I like the idea that Sam has this like little secret affair going and it's just revealed to us in this very like abrupt way, as opposed to this like drawn out.
I like that.
The meet you in the hallway scene. So I thought that was a very fun way to introduce that. But then he's just a solid dude. So what are your thoughts on where that's going?
No, you're totally spot on with like, I'm so glad we didn't have to do that whole like, oh, hi, I'm Sam thing. It was just like they started making out and you're like, oh, wait, this is already happening. And it was fun too when she reveals it to the group and then they're all like, I knew it. And they're having like a good banter. Like, honestly, That whole kitchen scene in general was really lovely, and it to me was like a very solidifying moment for me enjoying these 4 characters and getting really invested in what was going on and being like, this is really cute that they've gone through this like horrific thing. They've chosen to support each other. They've chosen to support Sam and not leave her on her own on this endeavor, which is great. And then the boyfriend, to me, my favorite thing about him was just like, 1, he was completely supportive. And then 2, he's like, oh, I get where you think I might be a creeper, so I'm just gonna like not be involved in this, but I'm also, while I'm gone, gonna be useful and go get the cops. And I was like, this is the guy. This is the boyfriend you want, where like, let's say Jerry O'Connell in Scream 2. He was a nice guy, but he was fucking useless at the end of the day. Whereas, like, this Danny dude, not only is he hot, but he's also clearly supportive and he's smart. I don't mind it. I'm not mad. Do I think he has the personality of the other 4? Maybe not, but it could be fleshed out. Like in the next movie, he could be more of a thing, you know?
I'll be honest though, to the guy's motivations, like, you gotta be special kind of fucked up yourself if you're like, hey, this chick's like habitually trying to be murdered and all of her friends are dying around her. I think I want to be in that relationship.
Okay, but Melissa Barrera is also exceptionally hot, so it's like, okay, like fair play. Like fair play.
It's worth it, y'all.
It's like, I'll tell you. Here's another fun dynamic, which I was kind of shocked but pleasantly surprised, but I also have heard a lot of hate on it. How did you feel about Tara and Chad? Because to me, I felt like it made sense, but I've heard a lot of people, what I didn't realize on the internet, this was new for me, that a lot of people in a really creepy and fucked up way, sorry if this is a ship you get behind, why are y'all into Amber and Tara as a couple? Because she straight up tried to murder her. I don't get it. But apparently there's a lot of people online that have a strong opinion about that and do not like the Tara and Chad dynamic.
Well, I don't really have an opinion to the Amber Tara thing.
What the hell, though?
I think that's just some, like, you know, exploring the space as screenwriters for, like, this next generation, probably. I think it makes sense. Like, there's a trauma bond there, Tara and Chad.
Yeah.
Shit, you know, like, that adds up in my mind. And Chad, you know, like, at times it kind of does feel like maybe like big brother relationship, right? I mean, he's used to this looking out for his sister, you know, so that's like, you know, something that he's always going to have instinctually. But I think it translates really well into, you know, Tara and Chad's relationship. Like, it felt natural and authentic to me, and I'm okay with letting that play out.
Oh, I agree. And I think it actually just gave them both extra something to do as well in terms of like character development. There was a little more build up there. And it's just like, I don't know, they have nice chemistry. They seem cute. It was not a hard dynamic for me to get behind, but yeah. I like that. I feel like his character really came in, like, he was very likable in the last one, but I feel like he really came into his own in this one. He's very like this nice, protective guy who's not a douchebag, who's very about bonding this group together. And I felt like he actually has a lot of heart in the group, which was kind of nice because, again, he was just like made some funny jokes the first time, but I felt like he got like a lot more of the Dewey presence in this one that we're obviously missing now that we don't have Dewey anymore. So I really liked that he was kind of a step in a way for taking some of that character aspects on, which I thought was really nice. And I did think Ethan gave off like the most incel vibes I've ever seen with like, where he's like shit talking Chad. And I'm like, what has this guy done to you aside from trying to be like your friend and get you out there and whatever? But he's like, I have a roommate named Chad. I'm like, okay, you're just a bitch. You know, let's be honest.
It didn't like, that word didn't come to mind, like seeing it in theater, but now that you say it out loud, it is just right there in front of you the whole time. Oof. Well, I mean, there's a lot of those themes, right? Like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
What the fuck is the Big Brother Richie? like making the movie. It's like really fucked up, like kind of incel thing here. Like, you know, he's got
totally
really bad at incel vibes, and that's probably like a critique on the time, like these like weird obscure subcultures that pop up and just like have horribly misdirected anger and
think they're owed something, or that they're like more irrelevant than they are, and all that kind of shit. Yeah.
So it definitely kind of fun to like sprinkle that in there. Always wanted to stick something in you. That was like the worst.
So jazzed. It was horrifying, actually. I thought it was honestly, like, I know it was like played to be whatever, but I was like, that's actually incredibly disturbing to hear. And so her then taking her knife and shoving it in his mouth, I was like, girl, get it. Like, I was into it.
Swallow on this, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I love it.
God. So
shit, we're getting towards the end of this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's kind of what I was gonna say. Is like, where do you sort of see this? Like, where are we gonna go from here? How does it stack up in the franchise? Give me some big picture bow tie thoughts.
I don't think that everyone would agree with my specific rating of the Scream films, but I'm not gonna lie, this one is ranking much top tier to me than I ever anticipated. And again.
Ooh. Give me a percentage here, like, or like out of the 6, top 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, this is where I'm going to lose a lot of people, and I literally don't care. I don't even care. So this is my personal preference, and I was just saying this to the friend that I have watched the last 3 movies with. Which was funny, we left the theater having very different opinions, but we've seen Scream 4, Scream 5, Scream 6 together because we were old enough to see those movies in theaters. So I think for me, Scream 4 especially holds this like special place in my heart where like I was finally old enough to go see this in a movie theater. Obviously we were post the 90s, so I could do that. But for me personally, and again, there's going to be so much hate here, but the OG Scream is number 1 for me. No one's ever going to beat that. Scream 4 holds something near and dear to my heart. I do not understand why it gets the criticism it gets. It was way ahead of its time. We will cover this at some point because I fucking love Scream 4. Yes, there's a lot of problems, but like, guys, let's be honest. Aside from Scream 1, there's a shitload of problems in every single one. It's fine. So then my third at the moment, just where I'm at today, is Scream 6, and I cannot believe it, but yeah, y'all heard it. It went ahead of Scream 2. I know it's not going to make people happy, but
I love your bravery, Taylor.
I'm going to do it. I guess for you, I'm going to guess yours goes more linear in that, you know, the first and the latter half. What is it for you right now?
You know, where it gets like 3, 4 is where I haven't seen them, so I can't give you like a proper answer here, but number 1's always number 1. Done.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed Scream 5. I thought it was such a fresh reboot, requel, you know.
Hardcore, yeah.
I think they did a fantastic job. I think the problems in terms of like the killers in Scream 6 and the reveal at the end and some of the like kind of cheesy, like let me go sister dynamic was like holding it back from Scream 6 being better than Scream 5. So I'm at least going to leave it at favorite OG Scream and then Scream 5 being better than Scream 6.
You know what's interesting is I actually think it's mostly Richie. I don't say this about Amber. We already talked about my issues with Amber, like when we did our first not so well done podcast, but it was one of our first ones. But I think the killer reveal is better and more like cohesive, I guess, in Scream 5. But I think the front end and in terms of like caring about the characters is much better in Scream 6. So it's a kind of interesting to me that kind of like, here's where this one's doing better. Here's where this one's doing better. You know, so like, I just think it was cool to see. Clearly, I think Radio Silence said something of the effect like we wrote these characters people had to fill those shoes. Now we saw them. Now we get to like move forward with that and develop the character based on like how we know they're delivering. And I think they did that because like, is Sam Sydney territory for me? Not quite yet, but she's certainly significantly closer than I ever thought she would be based on Scream 5. So I think there was some good development there. Did you feel like that at least carried it, gave it some weight in this last one?
Yeah, it's almost less of like Sydney carrying the show and more like the dynamic duo of Sam and Tara, right? It's like it's a little bit different, and I think there's more focus on like the sister relationship as to this like sole final girl. So I'm very okay with the new direction, and I'm looking forward to more.
Before, I guess this should be our wrap up thing because I can't believe we haven't even mentioned this yet. Sidney Prescott not being in it. How do you think they handled it? Did you feel like it was efficient? How do you feel about her returning potentially for a next one? I feel like that's a great place to kind of start to wrap this up is how did you feel about the Sidney Prescott of it all?
It was sort of weird. Like, I can't remember like how far in the movie it was, but you get this like, she's on vacation. Like, she's
in hiding. She's in hiding. It's on vacation.
Whatever the fuck it was, she's in hiding. All right. It just sounded like this, like bad, like just don't look over in that corner. Like, don't ignore the elephant in the room. Let's go look over this way. And, if I don't know, it just felt like it could have been handled better, or just wait until you can sort it out and get her in the movie. I don't know. Or like I was saying, get away from the OG characters entirely.
You can't though. That's my 2 cents. You cannot at this point eliminate the OGs. Now, I think moving into a third film, obviously we're diminishing their relevancy in each film. I think they just have to keep moving forward with that if they want to do this franchise thing that they're hoping to do, which, to be honest, like it was inevitable. That's kind of where we were heading. As long as the fifth one was successful, which it was. But I will say, what?
The life moves on. Rip the Band-Aid off.
No, I'm not ready yet. But no, my thing too is that I felt like for Sydney's character, especially given the last film, when the only reason she showed back up was because Dewey got murdered, like she literally said, I am not coming back, except that he got murdered and that's why she came back. I thought that it relatively, I thought it made some sense. I thought it made sense.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But I think we need to see... I don't ever want to see Sydney die, and to be honest, I don't ever want to see Gil die, if I'm being honest. But I think the realistic
you want them to grow old
approach is one of them will go.
Yeah.
One's going to go next movie. I would say if they both come back, one is going to go, and that's going to kind of be the end of that, other than maybe like cameos moving forward, which could always be a potential for any of those people. And I don't hate it. If you bring it back in a way that makes sense, I'm not mad about it. But like you said, to a capacity, like if we want to keep moving forward, if we want to keep this being what it is and moving in a new direction, you do kind of have to rip off the Band-Aid. And it's nice to find a way to pay homages and have characters come back without it being shoehorned in or like overtaking the plot with these new folks. I think they balance that very well in this movie. My hope is that they continue that moving forward and that it never becomes too fan servicey in a way that feels inauthentic. Thus far, they've balanced it. I'd like to see them continue to do so. But again, just driving home our new characters and seeing what happens with them. And yeah, to be honest, I'm really interested in every character we have left. I'd like to see how this plays out. I don't anticipate them all making it out next time, but I will genuinely be sad when we see one of them go next time. I guess, how are you feeling about this franchise moving forward?
At this point, I ain't going to be sad. Fucking let them go. Let them die in peace.
Oh my God. You know what? You go back. You're going to watch every fucking movie. You're going to feel way different by the end of this. I guarantee it.
You're right. I have to do my due diligence. Mm-hmm. Okay. that being said, bottom line is if you hadn't watched the movie before listening, go fucking watch the movie. Pay the admission ticket. Watch it in theater. It's always worth it. The big screen's where it's at. We love you all for always tuning in. Thank you. Keep coming back. Really looking forward to continuing to be a fan of this franchise and see what's next.
We've got also some very fun episodes coming out moving forward. We've got a couple on the docket I'm very excited about. We will be making a Return to Zombies shortly, so I'm excited for that. And just because, you know, we had a little technical difficulty, but we've got obviously this episode Screen 6. We will be bringing it back old school to the OG, and I have to say, I want to preface this before this episode comes out. I have thought long and hard about after we were recorded. I take back my 3 or 3.5 rating. I'm giving it a full-on 4. I love this movie. Nothing beats it for me. So look, you're gonna hear me give it like a 3 or 3.5. I can't remember, but just know, people, I've changed my ways. I'm listening to CJ. I'm giving the 4s where the 4s are deserved. But we got the OG coming out next for you with, a super fun themed cocktail. And after that, we're bringing it back zombie style. And then we've got some super, super fun movies we'll be looking forward to telling you about closer to the date. So we hope you guys...
Here, giving the audience something new.
It's going to be dope.
But new to them.
100%. We've got a nice mix moving forward of some old, some new, some blue. Not really, but you know what I mean. We hope you guys have an awesome St. Patrick's Day and that you're kicking it off as good as we are with multiple drinks in the morning and that everyone's having a good time. Drive safe, be careful, and don't pick up the phone if Ghostface calls, guys. Like, come on, no one picks up the phone. Don't pick up the phone.